Well, hello, everyone. We find ourselves back in Spain, and Betty, we're in the beautiful city of Burgos.
Yeah, Burgos is a rather kind of a small place, but very beautiful, very beautiful. They have, especially their cathedral.
Yeah, the cathedral is wonderful. You know, Burgos is located, of course, in a very strategic area in the northern part of Spain, in the Basque area. And, you know, this is also the hometown of El Cid. There were a lot of writers that used to visit here. You know, Alexander Dumas, Hans Christian Andersen, J. Michener, and almost every other writer that set foot in the country. They had to pause in Burgos long enough to take a look at the cathedral that we just saw for a little bit and have lunch, you know.
Well,
So,
all these
great.
good people, the Adventures Travel and all of these famous
Right,
artists
yeah.
can go
We
to
famous
Burgos.
folks too,
We
right?
famous folks all go to Burgos.
Hey, do you know what? Hemingway used to stop there to watch a bullfight, and then he would have lunch of fresh trout.
Oh,
How
my.
about
That would be right down your alley, huh?
Yeah, it
The
would
fresh
be, yeah.
trout.
Ooh.
I-
But also, I didn't know that they had a delicate Burgos cheese that he was fond of.
Well, I didn't know that either. Well, I'm glad he liked it. But I'll tell you what they do have there that people are very fond of
What's
is
that?
wonderful yadros.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isabel Brockman, she's a collector. She travels with me a lot. And she said that was the best place she ever saw to buy yadros.
Is that right?
She
'Cause
added to
those
her,
things are not cheap.
No, and she added to her collection.
Oh, that's great.
And she's smart, though. She prices before she leaves,
Yeah.
so she knows whether she's getting a bargain
Well, that's
or
a good
not.
way to do that. You know,
Yeah.
now with the internet, you can do that so easily, too. I mean, you can search out things and find out.
Can you do that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not
if you
into
know how
that.
to do it. I'm just
That's what I was
finding
saying.
out
I'm
about
not
some of
into
this
that, so I just go the old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way.
I
to go.
work for it.
Right, and if I want to bargain, I want to take a look at it and see what the price is.
Yeah, I really do. I like
Can you?
to.
Could you bargain for yadros or not?
Oh, yes. Well, I don't know if you can bargain, but these prices. There was like $100 off on one.
Wow,
So I mean,
really?
there was a spectacular difference in
That
price.
is.
We got in there late, so we just window shop mostly.
Yeah.
But this shop happened to be open. It was right near our hotel.
You know, I love this area of Spain, the Basque Country area, and as we drive through it, of course, it was a little bit rainy on the day that we did, but we saw some beautiful things. There were a couple of castles up on the hills, and then we saw an airport and these beautiful, beautiful green meadows that just seem to stretch forever.
You know, we brag about the green of Ireland. Well, I guess
Right.
Ireland is green all the time, but when you travel, the green is the color. I mean, we've seen lots and lots of green every place we go. But
Well, you
we
know-
go in different. We don't go in July and August.
No, when
either.
everything's turned.
No,
But I think,
no.
though, you know, like most of Europe, it doesn't turn brown like it does here in the San Joaquin Valley, because you still have rain in Europe during the summertime too, which will allow it to become very, very green. Betty, you know, as we go along the roadway, we see a lot of these signs, and those signs look a little bit different. They don't look like they're in the Spanish language, but they're in the Basque language.
Yes, that's a completely different language. I had a Basque lady go with me, and she was my roommate, and we had such fun. And she bought a beret for her brother. Well, let's guess it was. Well, she wanted to buy it right there for him, and it was fun. We shopped for berets, of all things.
Well, you know, I know there were several people when we got into the city of Pamplona that we're seeing. Then a lot of people bought berets. Is that typically a Basque thing?
Yes.
That is.
Absolutely.
Did you buy one?
No, I shopped with her. They're too flat for my face. I couldn't wear them. I need something with a little more height. But I think with men, I think men are the ones that wear them mostly. And Monsignor Balker has a one that he looks handsome in.
He looks good in it, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he does.
I wish I could wear that. I'm all ears and nose. I don't look good in a hat at all.
I think Father Pat wears one too.
He does
but he
sometimes,
loves
right?
hats. He goes into all kinds of hats. You know.
There's some people that can wear
Yeah.
hats. Now, you, as a woman, you have beautiful hats.
Yeah,
that you
I'm
wear.
into hats. Yeah,
And that's
I like
great. And,
hats.
you know, I wish more women did that today.
Well, I was raised in San Francisco, and we go back, you know, in church where you always wore a hat.
Right, right.
And you never thought of going any place if you didn't have hat and gloves.
Well, that's true. I know. I remember my mom told me, she said, you would never go out without hat and gloves. I mean, you know, in any city in the United States. But that's been
now
a
you
lot
go
of
out
years
with
ago.
pink curlers and tennis shoes.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, this is a street that they run the bulls on. Betty, were you ever here when they ran the bulls?
No, I wasn't, but I did run it myself just to get the feel of. But Of course,
run
it
up and
wouldn't
down
be-
the street.
Yeah,
a
oh
little bit.
yeah, oh yeah. So I come home and I say, oh, I ran where the bulls ran.
And of course, this is the beautiful city of Pamplona, and Pamplona is a beautiful city. There were a lot of fountains, and the architecture I thought was really interesting here. And of course, we're going to go in a little bit to the central square in the old part of the town, which is just about a block over from this street where they do run the bulls. Now, you know, people come from all over the world when they do this big celebration of running the bulls. And there are a lot of people that, I mean, you've got to take responsibility for your own actions and what you do. But a lot of people have been hurt
Oh,
pretty
of course, they've been killed. Well, you know what happens? So many of them get drunk, and I mean, it's a celebration. It's party time. Oh, I think you'd have to have a few drinks to have the nerve to run down with the bulls.
Well,
But
I think I would rather be up on one of those little balconies
to watch
looking
them.
down.
Well, you
Yeah,
don't even
watching
want to
it,
be
yeah.
on the ground to watch them, because if the bull swerves, there's no fence or anything to protect you.
No,
There's
that's
our
true.
berets.
Yeah,
you see,
see?
these are all our people that came along with us on the trip, and don't they look handsome?
They do. I think it looks very, very good. You know, there were a lot of souvenir shops that were here, and went in, and I looked at a couple of them. But like I say, I don't look too great in one of those. But I think the fellows look real good in their berets here. It looked very, very nice. So anyway, that was a little bit there of the what is that?
I was going to ask you, what was that?
The wood chopping thing? I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't
It must have
I
been
didn't get a story.
something
of
local.
that.
Anyway, here we are at this thing. There was a bandstand in the middle of this square that was right here. And again, I love the architecture. You know, I'm kind of crazy for all of that anyway. But it looked like these rooms were not too terribly big, but they probably went back.
Way back, long,
ways, yeah.
long. But you know, Marv, if you, like we were the ones we just saw in Burgos too, this is a little more sophisticated, it looks like, this architecture. But
Mm-hmm.
the old architecture, and then with the cobble streets and stuff, you could hardly tell where you were, in what city you were, because
it's
it's
true.
a uniform
Yeah.
thing.
That is very true. And you know, I just wish today we could recreate some of these places like this. I mean, the architecture that we see in so many places, and that where we travel around the world, of course, in this country as well, it seems to be so plain, and it doesn't have any of the little gingerbread stuff on it.
And
You know?
it's stark. It's
Yeah.
with simplicity. Huh?
Do you like that?
I think it's cheaper. No, I don't.
I don't either.
I don't. But you see, we tear down all the beautiful buildings, the beautiful old ones, and then we build these monstrosities.
There has to be something wrong with a society that does that. I don't know. I mean,
Well-
I just don't understand that. We've done that locally here too.
Well,
within the
I'll
valley.
say we have. Look at our beautiful old courthouse that was torn
know,
down.
that's
But
a shame.
thank God, and I'm sure it's God, that St. John's Cathedral was called
Was-
a historical
Right on
place,
the,
and
on
so
the historical record. So
yeah,
that-
so that
so that-
nobody could touch
no.
that. Well, I
No.
don't think the church would anyway. But
No, it's
but
just taking
there's all
Bishop
kinds
up.
of possibilities, you know.
a lot to try and restore that building to get it there. You know, Pamplona, this city, is the capital of the area of Navarra, and it gets its name from the Roman general Pompey, who founded this ancient city in 75 B.C.
Excuse
Can
me,
you
was his
believe
name
that?
Pompey?
Pompey.
And what's that?
Pompey.
Oh, not Pompey, E-I-I.
No.
Okay.
No, this was another guy.
Okay.
This.
Well, I thought, maybe that he came from that particular area and moved up there and did his thing.
Well, those
Wait a minute, I
Romans
don't
roamed
read the-
they roamed all around, you know.
They really
were
did.
all over the place, you know. But Pamplona, of course, is just absolutely, I think, beautiful. They've got a lot of old, beautiful churches. There's a lot of wonderful museums, and of course, what we've been talking about is some of the medieval architecture, like a lot of cities in Spain have. I mean, they had, and they've kept that so nicely, you know. But anyway, this is right in the Basque area, and again,
Yeah.
that's why we see those
That's
the
beautiful.
berets, like you
Yeah,
say.
I like that. It was the Blessed Mother, I'm sure, wasn't
This
And
was a
with
great
the-
big. This was a great big. No, I don't
No,
think it
it
was.
isn't? I
no,
look
I'm
like-
sorry.
oh, okay.
I think it was Queen.
Oh, because of the,
One
well,
of
the
the- one of
Blessed
the
Mother
queens
wears a
of-
crown
yeah.
too, but she wouldn't really have that in her hand, probably.
No,
I
no.
don't
This was
know what
this
that-
was right in the middle of a roadway. And
Yeah.
it was a great big monument. So I tried to get, but of course the sun was in the wrong wrong place for part of it, but this was quite beautiful. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think the bottom part of it was a fountain. And it was probably built in the days when you were using horse and carriage and that type of thing, And we've seen that all over Europe.
Yeah.
And
right there by the Spanish steps, too.
Yeah, right.
Rome, yeah.
And in places in Switzerland and Germany, I remember, that they, right in the middle, you would see these beautiful fountains. And I mean, more than just utilitarian. So not simple, but highly decorated and beautiful. Just beautiful.
I think the fountains become meeting places for people too. If they have to go and get their water also. Sometimes they did their washing there, and so it would be not like this fountain.
No,
but
not like that.
I'm talking
highly
about
decorative, right?
No, the only time you do that, like the Trevi fountain, they try to get into that one so they just get those coins out of the bottom, So, but that wouldn't wash. That would wash their clothes or their legs only, huh?
Yeah, a few people go wading in there and pick up a few coins, I would imagine. Yeah. What is there about fountains that people want to throw money into?
I have no idea.
I mean, the Trevi Fountain, in Rome.
Well, that one, you throw it and you'll come back. Hey, that's a pretty smart idea. We've got a fountain coming here right now at the Chancery. Let's have them throw in a coin and
that's not a bad idea, huh?
And something, and maybe a bishop could help pay for the fountain.
Very good idea. Very good idea. Anyway, Betty, I'll tell you what. I love this part of Spain. It is absolutely beautiful. Well, Betty, this hotel that we stayed at in Burgos, I thought was beautiful, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a classy place. Yeah, we all enjoyed that. Look how carefully we're going down the stairs. We sure don't want to have anything happen to us on the trip and like falling down stairs or something.
But I'm glad people took the stairs instead of the elevator.
Yes, it's good exercise.
Because guess where we're going?
We're going downstairs.
To eat.
Oh, that's fine. We're doing both. We're going downstairs and we're going down to eat.
Right, and so we're going to get our exercise, and then afterwards we can also climb back up the stairs again. But, poor Hemingway and these other guys, they didn't stay at a hotel look like this, did they?
I don't think, well, of course they didn't have them then.
That's
This was a new hotel. But I don't know. Some of the older hotels that we stay at are ever so much more fun actually for me than the new ones.
Yeah.
I like to go into the old. Well, I like good plumbing.
Yes,
but
right.
I kind of like to feel more the atmosphere of the place that we're staying rather than being in San Francisco or someplace.
Did you notice what was on the table there?
A tablecloth.
Sangria. Oh. No, sangria.
Well, I don't like sangria is too sweet for me.
Really?
Yeah. There's some other gals that were just as Anne that was there traveling with us with Idona, who was such fun on the trip. We enjoyed her. And Sam, first time he's been on a trip. First time he was
He's
out
a lot
of the
of fun.
country.
Nice guy.
And
Nice
we had great group of people. Of course, we always say that though. And
Well,
but
we-
it's
we
only
do
say
have.
it because
That's
it's
true.
true.
Exactly.
So in most of our places that we have dinner because of being in wherever we are, but being in Spain right now, most people have wine with their dinner. It just sort of adds to them.
Oh, you remember? In fact, this is going to come up on one of the other episodes with the wine that we had in the town of Huesca.
Oh, and it was
they gave us for dinner.
It was like the miracle at Cana because it kept coming and coming and coming.
I know.
And you said, "Oh, and you got the best last." I mean, yes.
And it was.
It was quite
beautiful
good, very
wine.
good wine. There's a lady from Sacramento that came all the way down to be with us.
Right, and there's
Isn't that
Virginia.
nice? Uh-huh.
And
Virginia and
we
Lillian.
really had some great people. This was a fun trip.
And they wanted to be in Olga and Frost, Dolores. Oh well, we shouldn't.
No, I know
I really shouldn't call them all by name. But
it's
Velma's
difficult
been
for
with
you to
me
remember,
before, and of
right.
course Lily goes all the time with us.
Right.
There's little Idona. Yeah, that I was talking about. And the Leisures, those are good friends of Monsignor Balker too. That came with
It was
us.
a wonderful group of people. And of course, this
John
trip was a
and
little bit different
Madeline
than
and-
some of our other trips because this was pretty much of a pilgrimage as we were going to both Lourdes and, of course, we've already been to Fatima as well. But I didn't know exactly what to expect, Betty, because I had never been to either of these places before. But I have to say, it was very, very meaningful.
Well, I've been there several times to both of the
Right.
places, yeah. And any time, Marv, that you go on a pilgrimage like this, it does something to you spiritually. Well, it's what it's supposed to do, I think. And I don't care what religion you belong to, actually. I think all religions that come and do this pilgrimage, I don't know that they call it a pilgrimage, but all get a great spiritual feeling from
Oh, I
this,
think so,
a
too.
renewal. And you see, even though you call it a pilgrimage, which it was, it's still fun. But you have to remember that Jesus had fun too.
course,
you know,
right.
I mean, he went to weddings and he
Well, I
mixed with. He even had dinner with sinners. You know.
yeah, that's
You
for
know,
sure.
It was Zach.
So you don't mind having dinner with me then?
Oh, you were absolved. You were absolved early on.
Pena yo de ti me estoy muriendo, porque tu amor no vale nada, sin saber a dónde ir, como yo te quiero a ti. Tú eres la reina de mi vida, tú eres la reina.
Well, Betty, I think, again, as we were saying earlier in the show, you know, you have so much of this green, and of course we can see this rained a little bit too, as we made our way from northern Spain and across in the Pyrenees to Lourdes. I didn't realize how big or how small the Pyrenees were, because when I get a glimpse every now and then out of our window, of course we've got, you know, the rain speckled. I thought it was the Alps.
Well, a mountain's a mountain. I mean, you can put any name you want on it. It's still a mountain. It doesn't make that much difference. But no, they are the Pyrenees because that's the one that separates
Yeah.
Spain from France.
Right. This was beautiful. I think the drive all the way through. You know, and it changes. It seems to me like after we crossed the border and got into France. And of course, naturally, the architecture seemed to just
It
change
changed,
right
too.
away, didn't it?
Well, you know, I get bored with a lot of it. I sit there and I think, oh, I'm like the little kids. Are we almost there? Are we almost there? You know, and I'm not fortunate like some people that can just nod off and
go to sleep.
Somebody I know whose first
We know
name is
somebody like
Marv.
that? Oh, really?
They can
Oh.
fall asleep. But then when you get into where the activity starts, I mean, when
Right.
you start seeing some signs of houses and not occupation. What is the word I want to use?
Civilization.
Habitation, civilization, right? And then I perk up and I think, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So I kind of.
But you know, you mentioned something. I don't like to sleep on the bus. I mean, we do that. I'm
You
afraid I'm
don't?
going to miss something.
Oh, you
No.
don't miss anything riding.
You see,
on
you
the-
can't tell whether I'm asleep or not because I'm always with the camera in the front seat. So nobody except the driver and
Yeah,
hope he
but-
doesn't turn around. when
But
he
I've
drives
been
on
on
the
I've
road.
been on enough trips with you to know that you do sleep, and I'm just terribly jealous. But isn't you? So many people. It's kind of the lull, you know, the
Sure.
motion of the bus that puts you to sleep.
Well, you have to figure too that that you know there's been a big time difference as well too, and it takes a while for me anyway. I always have that jet lag thing, but I found some new pills for that.
Oh gosh,
Natural stuff.
where'd you get? That's what you bought in China?
No, I bought some in China, but bought some at Trader Joe's here in
And
Fresno.
that does it work?
And it works. You have to take them every hour, a couple of hours, even while you're on the airplane. Wow, no jet lag at all. Incredible. It didn't work coming back.
got any
for some
left?
reason, but no, I read about that somewhere in a magazine. I thought, boy, you know, it's worth trying. They're all natural, so it's not a drug.
I don't have
thing
trouble
at all.
going over. I don't have much jet lag going over,
coming
but I
back?
get it when I come home. Yeah, and
Well.
that's worse for me.
There's all sorts of published things now, say little tricks on how to avoid that. I don't know if it works for some people. I feel sorry for the people that work for the airlines though, because boy, my
Well, I think
golly,
of
they're
my
gone all
son
the
that
time.
used to fly international all the time.
Yeah?
That was, but the compensating factor was then you'd be home for a week without having to do anything, you know. So that was nice.
Now, Betty, you said that you've been here before. What was your first impression when you were there the very, very first time of the city of Lourdes?
Oh my, I don't know.
What did you expect? Was it different than you
You know,
expected?
it always is different than I expect because I don't expect that much traffic. I don't expect that much building. I always revert back to where I read about Lourdes and saw pictures of Lourdes and my mental capacity at that as I come into a place is still visualizing that, but as you get into Lourdes itself, it's fun, it's exciting, because Lourdes is behind a gate, and so it's not spoiled by the people or the hotels or anything. It's a unique experience to go to Lourdes.
It really is. And of course, it was my first time, and I've seen photographs before too, but I didn't realize. I mean, here you have a whole underground church that's underground, and I can see now why, because if it continues to rain like that.
Well, you know why, though? Lourdes has become so famous. When it first started,
Yes,
they
that's
didn't
true.
need all of that. But every year, the reputation keeps growing. There's the hotel we
Yes,
stayed at,
right,
isn't it?
yeah.
We had the greatest hotel. We just had to walk out that door, turn to the left,
And there we were.
I
Right.
mean,
It was wonderful.
fantastic. It was. Go
It
ahead.
was
I'm
great.
sorry.
No. No, you're right. The location was great.
Yeah.
Well, now what I'd like to do is we arrived and we saw a little bit of a candlelight procession the first night, but then the next morning we had the privilege of Father Myron Cotta celebrating Mass right there at the very, very spot where the Blessed Virgin appeared. But right now I'd like to introduce him because he's in the sacristy, and there's some old pictures here that he's going to tell us about as he gets ready for the Mass.
Here at Lourdes, we're in the sacristy of the Grotto of Lourdes. We're preparing for Mass in the grotto, which would be this area. And this photo here is a photo taken shortly after the apparitions to give one an idea of what the grotto originally looked like. Our Lady appeared up in this niche, which of course is still here to the present day. Some of this has changed, it seems, and I was told Bernadette basically was in this position away from the grotto when something caught her attention, which it says was kind of a breeze, rustling sound, and then she looked up and saw the young girl, the Blessed Virgin, in the grotto. So we're in a few minutes going to celebrate Mass in this very sacred and special place with our group from the Diocese of Fresno. So gather in this very special place, this grotto of Lourdes, where Our Lady appeared and left a message of ongoing penance, which is, to celebrate this Mass during Lent is a very beautiful time of year to do this, because the whole message of Lourdes is prayer and penance. And Saint Bernadette was very fortunate to have this vision of Our Lady, who began or continued to stress the importance of penance and some of the suffering we might have to do in reparation for the sins of the world, and how very important prayer is in our lives. As the people of the third millennium, the Church of the third millennium, we truly have to be a people of prayer, or this isn't going to work. We truly have to be a people of self-sacrifice out of love for the other and out of love for God, or this isn't going to work. And I think that's the prayer and message of Our Lady. It's prayer, penance, and things will take place. There will be growth in the church. And so we pray for those who have fallen away from the church today, that they will be drawn back through our prayers and our sacrifices, our penances. We pray for all those who have died. We pray especially for Don Felser, who's the husband of my secretary who passed away. Marv was informing me of that yesterday morning. He died. And pray for his repose of his soul, and for the many years he served the diocese there at the office. And also we pray for his wife, Jean. We pray to the Lord. It's written that the first of the 18 apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary to the humble Bernadette took place at Lourdes, in this spot, on February the 11th, 1858. And on March 25th, when Bernadette asked the beautiful lady her name, she replied, "I am the Immaculate Conception." The devotion of the people in all parts of the world to Our Lady of Lourdes, together with the countless miracles that have been wrought through her intercession, has caused one of the most marvelous spiritual regenerations in the history of the Church. And so we pray for that ongoing regeneration. I love that word, entering the new millennium, that the Church is regenerated through the prayers of the Blessed Virgin and our faith. Another beautiful thing for our group, we were in Fatima, where Our Lady revealed herself also, the devotion to her Immaculate Heart, on the feast of the 25th of March, and that's when we were visiting her. We celebrate the Feast of the Annunciation. And so, this journey has been kind of interesting. that the Immaculate Heart devotion originated in Fatima. She revealed her title as the Immaculate Conception in this spot on the 25th of March.
This place was built, finished in 1958, so that means 1 century after the apparition. I said to you that one of the reasons was to create a big place in case of rain for the time of the procession. During the season in Lourdes, which opened in Eastern to All Saints, so quickly, there is twice a day the procession. The one in the afternoon, which is the blessing of the sick, and at night it's a candle procession. So in case of rain, from the time was built, the Rosary Basilica, which is the second one, was 1901. So it is why you see the works on the Rosary Basilica, because in November that would be 1 century of this basilica. So from 1901 till 1958, there was no solution in case of rain. So here it's the new solution. And here it's also the main place, the biggest basilica of the three. It's 20,000 people in, imagine. But you imagine that today Lourdes is 5 million visitors a year. So this place is that meaning, but also there is other meaning into the construction, and I will try to explain it to you. Probably you saw that in Lourdes the three basilica are different style, and I will try to show you that those styles, show you how Lourdes changed from the time Lourdes was a local pilgrimage till the time Lourdes became a world pilgrimage. So when you see such a kind of building, you face one international style. That's one point. But also you are into an earthquake shelter. Here we are nearby the Pyrenees mountain, and like in California, sometimes the earth shakes, And so this is an earthquake shelter. But at the same time, when you look to this building, you face the image of a boat, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And which kind of boat?
The ark.
The ark, of course. But the idea of the ark was created in those times in relation with the world history. And remember, we were in 1954 when the architects started to draw the place. And 1954 was the time of the Cold War. You remember,
Yes.
And so after Nagasaki, Hiroshima, everybody was afraid about the bomb. And so
Okay, it's time for us to say goodbye, so we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And at the same time, a bomb shelter was also the reason of this kind of architecture.